Cool. Alrighty. Let's minimize this. Get the chat going. Boom, boom, boom. All right. So what do we got? Small gap up in the futures. Actually, we opened up flat, and now we're just going up green a couple points. So what am I looking at this week? I guess to start off from the top, kind of important to see like what all the events are, like macro and earnings and whatnot. So macro calendar is pretty light. I mean, we have JOLTS on Tuesday, and then we have jobless claims on Thursday, and NFP non-farm roll payrolls on Friday. So that's it on the macro side. As far as earnings, some ones to like keep an eye out here that I think would be relevant. HPE tomorrow after the close. Tuesday after the close, we have Palo Alto and GitLab. And then Wednesday, not so much. AVGO is going to be a big one, obviously, for the chip side. Some could argue that AVGO is more important than NVIDIA. So definitely keep an eye out on that, I would say. And then on the security side, CrowdStrike as well on Wednesday. And then Thursday, Sienna, Rubrik would be a good one on the security side. Planet Labs, they always crush on earnings. They're on Thursday. And there's some smaller ones like DocuSign, Samsara, and Lulu. So that's what we got on the earnings side. Kind of just looking at the charts, guys, like zooming out. So SPY, and I think I put in one in the chats, but I basically like I asked like ChatGPT, I'm like, hey, like, if we look at SPY, we've made the weekly. So there's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 green weeks in a row. And like went and like asked ChatGPT, like historically what happens like after that. And like a month later, market's up, 6 months later, market's up, that's fine. But there is a 70% chance that we see a red week this week, just based off historical context, right? So just take that with a grain of salt, take it however you wish. But I would just say I wouldn't be surprised if we get, I'm not saying like a major pullback, but even if we come back down into like the 8-day here on SPY, that's 1%, right? So we could close like around the 8-day, and that would be healthy consolidation, right? Obviously, a lot matters with NVIDIA has their event tonight. Avgo, Broadcom's earnings on Wednesday, right? A lot of factors that go into that, but obviously SPY looks good. What I would just want to see from SPY is, like I said, just kind of get a little more consolidation here. But I think June overall, I think what I'd be looking for is to get a pullback and to get aggressive then. I don't want to get aggressive out the gate tomorrow because I think we could get an opportunity to get buy the dip sometime next week, especially if like looking at the daily candle here on the Qs, not the prettiest on Friday. So I think even if we come back to the 8-day, which is at 725, it's not a major thing, right? And we still have the gap from last weekend that hasn't filled. So that's kind of just what I'm keeping out on the indices. Bitcoin looks like shit. Well, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I know that there was like some pushes on Friday with like MSTR and Coin, but obviously those names kind of follow software names, and Bitcoin did get a little bit of a pop, but I mean it's rejecting everything. It's literally like come up here to the 8-day reject. It just kind of just doesn't look good, honestly. So keep eye out on that. But it could decouple from equities, which it has. So never print another red candle, maybe. Going to the mag. So NVIDIA, I know I have a position here. I know a lot of people were kind of caught off sides on the close on Friday, but mentioned it earlier in the day that hey, it's going to be end of month rebalancing for a lot of these funds, where a lot of the names that have ran, they're forced to sell, right? Surprised that we didn't see it like in some of the other names like Qualcomm and ARM, but it happened with NVIDIA. They have their event tonight, so we'll see what happens. But overall, in my opinion, I know I have calls in NVIDIA, so see what happens with the event. What would be the most constructive look, in my opinion, is if we get a UNR on the 21 day here tomorrow, and then kind of head higher. But if we don't, right, you kind of just look at this on a macro sense. We're making like, okay, we have a high, we have a low here, higher low here, higher low here. But if we fail to make a higher high here and we come down, and let's say we stop out here, in a macro sense, that just means the structure is heading lower. So just keep that in mind. I'm going to be watching that, see what the reaction is tomorrow. If we do get, well, I mean, you might get your red candle, but we need to get back over this 21 day. And you can see here, we kind of broke this trend line on, what was this? On Wednesday, right? So it is kind of hanging out here, consolidating a bit. So we'll see if it goes down or goes up. And what I'm seeing on NVIDIA, Meta looks good. Obviously, we got that big, got the news on, what day was that? Wednesday, it popped it up. So if Meta could come back into like the 630 range over here, I think it will give a good opportunity to go long and head, the 200 SMA is going to act like a magnet. So we target the 200 SMA there if we could get to, if Meta could come back down here, or if we get a gap up, that'll look good as well. Apple is just a fucking beast. It's just chucking along. I think like any dips on Apple are going to be buyable. Like if you guys just want to, we're June 1st. Yeah, well, I got CoreWeave on my list. June 1st, I mean, honestly, like, we could turn around at the end of summer and Apple could be at 350, right? So if you want to buy out, like, buy calls 2 months out on Apple and just, if it doesn't close underneath the 8 day, that'll be your stop loss. I don't hate that. Going into, like, obviously we talked about some of the indices, but, IGV, I mentioned this. I kick myself for this because I think I mentioned it on Wednesday or Thursday. I'm like, there's going to be a rotation of software, and I missed it. Like, I totally just didn't get in on time. And we saw that rotation happen. So IGV obviously got a big gap up here over the 200 SMA, a lot of volume coming in. And that was led by, Microsoft, Palantir, Team, ServiceNow, right? All those names, right? So Microsoft, and what I was looking for on Microsoft was to get in on this like 433, 432 area, but it did, but it just kept running, right? And I'm not going to chase something like that just keeps running. So looking for Microsoft is obviously we have the 200 SMA here about 456. So see what happens if there's a reaction there around the 200 SMA. But ideally, we see it digest this move a little bit, kind of flag out, and offers an entry here to go long. Because I think this is probably going to head back to like the 480s relatively quick, I'd say by the end of the month. And I think I saw some call flow on that. Amazon, I exited my calls on Friday just because I didn't like the close at all. You can see here, it was just kind of like inverse hammer, right? So it did get pushed back down. What I'd be mindful with Amazon, it's like, is this like if it comes up here and kind of rejects this 278 area, but what I'd be looking for on Amazon is, if we could get an entry back here, back towards the 8 day again, it offers a better risk reward situation there. Tesla, so Tesla, again, timing sometimes just sucks. So I had the Tesla short idea on like Wednesday or Tuesday. Obviously, we had to close out those puts for loss, and then on Friday, it actually would have been in the money. And what I was looking, and the reason, so you guys could see the method to the madness on why I entered those shorts on Tesla specifically. So this was the same kind of setup on Tesla that we had with Apple that I took the short back in like February, right? And basically what we're looking for here is you have the swing high here, which is at 453. We have the swing low here at 394, and similar to Bromsky's futures strategy, right? It was coming back up here to test the 786, and it was rejecting it, right? So we could look here on this day, it actually rejected it and closed under, and then the next day it got a big move up, and then ultimately on Friday it did sell off. We got that move, right? So I'm open. My bias is open on Tesla for both ways, right? If we could get a strong close over this 441, like up here, I'd be bullish on it. But if it keeps wicking and rejecting this area, I think it actually sweeps, comes back down and sweeps these lows at 394. It could run into, I mean, we'll see. I mean, there's rumors that like, they might merge and stuff like that, but ultimately, if it can't reclaim this area, I like it for a short. But it might just take some more time to consolidate, let the 21-day kind of catch up here, and then it could take off. Band, we're in that. I wish I had more size on this, but this chart looks crazy. Obviously, we got the pullback that I was looking for entry. I think the contracts are up about 95% right now, and I'm just going to sit on these because we got about 2.5 weeks left. I don't expect major volatility before the June OPEX, which is also the quarterly OPEX on June 18th. So I think, like I said, maybe we get some minus 1 or 2% days, and those are opportunities to go long and really press the gas. So I think this is another one that I would actually look for 85 here before the June OPEX. So on my watch list, I put a lot of nuclear names because I was going through and looking at a lot of the EFTs, right? And a lot of them look good. A lot of them are obviously extended. The one that looks kind of like the most constructive here, and it isn't extended, is nukes, which is nuclear energy. So we think about an Oklo, the CCJ, those names. So this looks really good. Obviously, we got kind of the hammer off the 21 and the 8-day. Here we go. We got, oops. We got a low here. We got a higher low here, right? So we have a high here and a higher high here, guys. This is kind of just basic, trading macro structure. So what we look for here is a next higher high, potentially up to here, right? So can this come up to here and then come back down, make a higher low, right? So that's kind of what I'll be looking for, and why a lot of those names are on my watch. I think we get a rotation into the alternative energy names. It's like an F cell, right? I know we're in this, but it held the previous high here. That's kind of what I was watching. We got to push into the close, so it held that previous high level. So it's kind of just a retest. So I wouldn't be surprised if this gets some juice into it by this week. TE as well, right? They're just kind of digesting the move and consolidating for a bit. Nokia, I know we have in the small count, and actually I'm probably gonna look to add a position here in my main account. You can see here every time it comes down and touches the 8-day, within a couple days we get a move back up. So I'd be looking for is if we could get a UNR on the 8-day. And I think I should have an alert on that. But yeah, if we get a UNR on the 8-day. And then some other names I'm watching, and I might have put these in my commentary channel, but NVT looks good, right? And think about AI data center, power and electricity. So the same looks constructive. We got kind of two hammers off the 21-day. It saved the 21-day here. It looks like it's going to be curling back up. So I like this. If we get a breakout over 170, look to go long here. Smaller name, LAC, looks fucking awesome as well, right? So I know oftentimes we kind of look at the last week, but if you zoom out on charts, just the macro sense, are we making higher highs? And we are, right? So if this comes back up, I'd expect it to make a higher high as well. So on the nuclear side, Oklo as well, like this, it's getting tight. The EMAs are stacking. There was a lot of sell volume on Friday, but that might have had to do, I actually got to see when that happened. That might have had to do with month end. Yeah. It came in at the end, right? So the monthly rebalancing. So another energy name that I think energy could get some legs behind it in the next month and a half. Obviously, we're seeing it with solar. If we look at the solar ETF TAN, this is flying. So yeah, energy names are going to be like my top watch going into next week. So CCJ as well, plug. This looks great as well, right? So I think here if we get a pullback into, which we did on Friday, but if we get a pullback into this 8-day, look to go long, at least target the high of 450. But I think obviously goes higher than that. Some other names, DigitalOcean. I saw this on your list. I think a lot of people like this one's. It's obviously it's a peg play, right? It had a big gap up on the earnings here, and it's just kind of like lulling people, right? People are like eventually going to forget about this, and we're going to turn around and it's going to be at 200, right? So this is definitely.
I have it on really top. Like that's my top watch going into tomorrow, just because I found that usually when stocks put in like a very thin day or like a doji, they tend to break out the following day. So I don't know. I'm gonna add size on this, probably full size it if it breaks out tomorrow, assuming it doesn't gap up a significant amount. But I really like this setup.
Yeah, we saw that right here with On, right? And when I entered it the other week, similar look, right here, doji, and then it broke out.
Yep.
Yeah. So I like that. What else? I like my list, like obviously strong bullish market and a long list of like a watch list of potential names. So it's on like just be mindful, like if we like get a -1 or 1.5% day, I think that's going to be the opportunity. Looking at software names, Fig, obviously. If you bought this in like when it IPO'd, I'm sorry, right? What did it pop up to like fucking 100, right, on its IPO, 150. It's crazy. And like imagine being an employee and you're like, oh, I'm a millionaire, and then you can't sell for like 9 months later, and it's over here. But I like Fig. Obviously, we're getting money coming into software. It's curling up. I wouldn't pay attention to the 200 SMA because it is a new IPO, so this is kind of irrelevant for me. But if we could get over this, was it 2580 level? I think we go up to 28, and then look for it to test this 32 level. I really like this name. You can see the volume coming in on earnings as well.
Yeah. Pretty nice. I got in Qualis for long-term shares, and that's been doing pretty well. If that sets up again, I think that's going to be another ripper.
Yeah, I was actually going to get to that. So security, obviously you guys know I work in security. So you can see here, since this scare of Anthropic's Mythos on, what was this, like April 7th, April 9th, this is the hack ETF. It's ran 40% on cybersecurity, and it's being led by names that have ER this week and a Palo Alto, which went fucking ballistic on Friday. But like if you look at Palo from, this April 10th, right, that low, it's ran 86%. And then CrowdStrike's going crazy too. So they both have earnings this week. Be mindful of that. But there are still a lot of cyber names that I like. CrowdStrike's doubled in like 35 trading days. That's crazy. It'll be interesting to see what happens with their earnings because it has ran so hard. And if you look at where is it, Zscaler, they got destroyed on their earnings. I don't know, they guided down, which I don't get. Honestly, because of everything that's happening with Mythos and like that rollout that's going to get released pretty soon, we should be seeing they should be guiding up, right? Maybe they're just sandbagging. I don't know, but this is obviously a big hit on earnings here for Zscaler. SentinelOne, another security name, got smashed on earnings as well. This is one that I am going to be looking to enter like a leap position on. I want to see if it could recover the 200 SMA, and if it does, I'm probably going to look at $20 calls for January, either January 2027 or 2028. But I just know firsthand, because I work in the industry, that making a lot of improvements to their product there, and Google actually lost a couple of our like security PMs that went there. So I would look for. I think I mentioned this name like February, like when it was down here as a potential long-term buy, but I would look for leaps here because I think it does head back to 30 within the next year, personally. Yeah, you mentioned Qualys. Like all these security names look. So if you guys are looking for like security names that haven't ran yet, like Qualys, VRNS, right? Like, and what we've seen is like once they get over that 200-day, like this, like Tenable, TENB, it got over the 200-day and it's just fucking running, right? So it got over, consolidated a little bit, retested, and now it's running. So like keep an eye out on the like Qualys, keep out on VRNS, AKAM, Alchemy looks good, just in general. Rapid 7 is another one that I would probably the options are kind of spready and thin, but it's cheap enough that you just buy shares, right? And if you look at filling this gap, I mean that's 16% gap that you could fill, right? So it's right now like right at oopsies. Get out of there. So if we could fill that gap, right, it has room up to, $10, $11. So another cyber name, keep an eye out. Net, I missed this last week. I was on my watch list that once it would break over, I think like 217 or 220. But this one looks great as well. Okta obviously had earnings, so it popped up. Datadog, another name that broke this massive base here. And Datadog is in security as well. They're more observability, but they do security. But any pullbacks into the EMA here are great, a great spot to get in and get long. All right, so let me go back to other names here. Fig, Bros. I know this is kind of floating all around online, and I remember looking at it in January, but here we are. If it could break this trend line, right? Like this is another one. It just popped over the 200 SMA, right? And typically once we get over 200 SMA, that's when we see buyers come in and move it up. So Bros, what I'd look at is if we could get over 59, I'd look for a breakout there, or if we get a retest of the 200 SMA, that could serve as a good entry. Hinge, I know we were talking about this, I think on the live on Friday. It's still kind of getting stuffed at this level. So what I'd look for is like a really clean break over. It's like over 57. If we get a clean break over that, I'm actually gonna add an alert there. I'll look to get into Hinge. QBTS. Quantum is fun because it could be like rare earths and you could get rugged any day, but they could also, they're high beta, high ADR, so they can move pretty fast. What I'll be looking for is it to either pull back to the 8-day here and enter there, or we get a breakout entry at about 31 of this trend line. But then this, I think obviously it's going to have rooms, and I think I did a video on this, right? It has room up to the highs here, I think in June. MP looks good. Marvell, I think a lot of people have kind of slept on Marvell. Everyone was all about it when it was ripping here, right? Everyone was trying to get in, and then ARM and Qualcomm became the new darlings. So I think one that people are kind of forgetting about. So, and another one of these where I had a doji and it's holding the EMA support. So I'd keep an eye out on this because I think this definitely could break to all-time highs soon. Obviously, we had a nasty sell here on earnings, but it's still holding support. INOD, if I get an opportunity to re-enter, if it comes back down, I think you're still in shares, right, Brom?
For which one?
INOD.
Oh yeah. I'm still in shares.
Yeah.
I got stopped out on that little the shakeout just under that happened under the 8-day, and then I re-entered when it retested on Friday. Because it came back down, kind of came to the level that I wanted to get back into. and I watched to see if we kind of had a pivot, and then we ended up pivoting from there, and then yeah, I entered shares, and then it's yeah, I think this thing can really squeeze.
Yeah.
It had a pretty big earnings surprise, so um, I don't expect it to come down and fill the gap below. I think this thing continues to move forward.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect it to fill the gap either. I like it for higher. I personally, I was like, I didn't like how it was trending towards the close, but it did close over that 103 area that I was watching. But I think it'll, we'll see. What I'd like to see is it for it to close over 110, but we might be able to get another entry next week. DGXX, we were in this last week, made I think like 30%. Options kind of suck on it. The contracts, they don't move that well. So this is probably one, I know Bromsky, you're looking at it on your watch, but this one looks, it looks really good.
It looks really good. It's just really wicky.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna wait until like it confirms its breakout, because it's kind of just been whiplashing me around. So I don't know. For me, I would take Doc N over DGXX.
Yeah.
Like I'm just kind of reducing the setups that I take to higher quality ones. So yeah, but it is on watch for me for sure if it starts to go.
Yeah. 5-9, we're in this. Another one which I just think we could get a better position when it comes to the options and more time. I saw a lot. Yeah, they're a major customer. Yeah. I saw a lot of flow for this in October, like October 25. So I was like, all right, let me exit and probably look to get more time on this. But this looks really good. Like, obviously, we put in a bottom here, and it's way off the highs, right? It's a software name that has gotten absolutely destroyed. They're actually my customer last year. I know them well. I think this could, again, it's one of those. It's not going to move like a ServiceNow. It just doesn't get that much volume, but with time, it would be a good one. But yeah, if we could get, what I'd be looking for is any kind of pullback into the 8-day this week to kind of re-enter and reposition, probably with later contracts, either August or September. Team. So yeah, software names we mentioned: Microsoft, Palantir, Team, ServiceNow, all kind of just like gapped and went. This is one that what I'd want to see is kind of like a come back and retest this $100 level. And if we get a retest of the $100 level, get a little flag like this, let the EMAs catch up, go here, go long, and then target this 200 SMA here at 125. Oracle, another like just fucking took off on Friday, right? And what you'd really want to see here, when I was watching for, is a pullback or a retest of the 200 SMA. So that's kind of going to be my main watch here to see if it does pull back into like this 206 area. If you don't get a 206, the next level I'll be watching is about 216 to get a pullback into to look to go long. But I would expect a lot of these software names that ran pretty hard on Friday to kind of digest the move over the next couple of days and build out a flag. But we will see. Twilio, I think Sid's on. Yeah, Sid, you put this on my watch. And I took a look at the chart. This looks good. Obviously, they had another peg play, power earnings gap. It's kind of just flagging off the 21-day multiple times. Get a breakout over 193. I would target up to obviously the swing high of 204, and then stretch TP of 225. But this definitely looks good for higher as well. AA, this was on my watch on Friday. I totally missed it, but it did break out here. It broke out of the $76 level. Almost at CoreWeave. I got you, brother. So this one, and if you look at some of the like the ETFs, right? So what I was kind of looking at earlier was, where is it? Materials. Yeah. So AA is in XLB, right? Or it's a materials. So this looks, if you look at the ETF, looks great, right? So that's why it caught my attention, and I actually think the swing graded it like an A+ as well. So if any kind of retest or pullback into 76, I'd be looking for an opportunity to go long. Obviously, it is a little bit extended, so maybe it does kind of consolidate here, let the EMAs catch up, and then we could go. Where we at? Core weave. Poor weave. So obviously holding, yeah. So holding the 200 SMA, came down here, tested it. We still we want to see is for the 8-day to, for the 8-day to come over the 21-day, so we get that cross, the 821 cross to the upside. Really, what I want to see is a breakout over 110, or kind of like a pullback or a hammer off the 8-day here, kind of like what we got on Friday. But if we could get over 110, that's kind of been the area it's been getting stuffed at. If we get over 110 with volume, 120, 125, and then the high here, the swing high of 138, I think. It's one of those that you might be honestly, you're kind of better off just playing the leverage shares sometimes, just the way that the swings could go with core weave, unless you really catch it. Docu, this is another one that on Friday I said, hey, watch this, and it broke out. Form PLTR. So PLTR, what I want to see from PLTR, obviously we have the 200 SMA come up here, so that's going to act as a level of resistance at 161. So maybe it comes up here and rejects, or maybe just kind of consolidates. The buy area for me, on PLTR would be around this 150 spot. That's where I'd be looking to take it long. But yeah, I think, it's the Trump trade. Everything from Intel to, obviously we had IBM and Dell, right? But you have that factor, you have the Enduro IPO coming up, right? So just a lot of factors for a catalyst for Palantir. The one thing that would be interesting, and I don't know if it's really going to affect it because it hasn't, is hey, if there really is an end to the war, does it hurt it, right? But I don't think so at this point, right? Trump sent the bat signal, so not my style to chase here, guys. I'm going to wait. The day to buy was actually this day, and just totally missed it, and yeah, that would have been the day to go long. And I think the next day, everybody on X and Twitter were pumping it up, right? So we'll wait to see what the reaction is here at the 200 SMA. While we're on the software theme, I'll go to Now. It's another one that, congrats Bromsky for calling this one down here in the 80s.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah, you're definitely.
What I'll probably do is I'll put out a poll for a masterclass for value investing, and then also just how I trade shares. I think there's been a lot of people who've been asking me about it. So, I absolutely snipe. It's a mixture of technicals and also fundamentals. But yeah, I sniped almost the bottom of that. My average share price is 89.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I am sitting pretty right now.
Yeah, I would. I would We'll see. This could definitely keep going, and we could turn around in a month and a half, and it's up at fucking 165.
My target price is between 180 to 160. That's where I think we'll potentially see it start to slow down.
Pre-split. So what they did a 10-to-1 split, and they were up at 240. Oh my god, yeah.
This thing can just go.
Yeah. All right, so let's see. I'll go over a couple more, and then I'll go to the ones that you guys are putting in the chat here. PLTR, I'm not going to go over that. Dell, blah, blah, blah. Boom, Cypher, Keel, Bitfarm. This, if this provides entry, definitely want to look to go long in. I would just be mindful of kind of this, the double, the previous all-time high up here, right? So kind of watch that. AAOI, I think I mentioned this earlier in the week. I'm like, guys, this is kind of forming out a head and shoulders. As of now, it's playing out. We'll see what happens. I don't have let me put the 50 on here because I don't know where that is. So we got the 50. I think Tony was saying he's like he'll buy it down at the 50. So the 50 is down here at like 148. Yeah, you can take a shot at shares here at the 50 around 148. I would. This is like a wild horse trading options on it, right? I caught it. I caught it for like a day or two, and got my profit and got out, thankfully. But yeah. So ZT, this is recorded. But Microsoft, I'd look for a pullback to like 433, 434. On the downside, Netflix, I'm coming for you still. This is still like, especially if like the rest of the tech keeps running. Netflix has obviously kind of been inverse market, so I'm looking for is a pullback into, or a bounce up to 87. This bear flag has broke, right? So from there down to 85, 80, and 75. I'd probably, if I re-enter it, I'm going to re-enter it with time. Probably look at July, and because June's not enough time. I think I need July to get this the full target of 75, which could pay massively if it plays out. But it looks like it's going to play out. Hood, we got in there on Friday. We got 0 days. If we would have held it, it would have been more, but we got what we got, and then we got like 100% on the ones for next week, which is great. This looks fucking awesome. Like it's another one of those software, like similar to like Microsoft, even though it's not software, but like Microsoft Chart, IGV. For this big move up, got past this 90 level, which is pretty clutch. So next I'd probably target about 100. Then you have the 200 SMA here to kind of see how it reacts there. But again, just another one where it's, so extended from these, or specifically the 8-day and the 21-day, that it just might need a couple days to digest. And that's where I think like, hey, we might see a red week in the market. When I say red, I don't mean like a major correction. I mean -1.5, -2% week in the market, right? Which will be constructive, because if you think about, if you guys think about the market as kind of like a rubber band, if we keep stretching and stretching and stretching without any like release of the tension, when that release happens, it's not going to be pretty, right? So we need to let it pull back and digest and for the next leg up with the market in general. So someone mentioned BE, which probably should be on watch too, given the sector. Yeah, hammer off to 21. They had earnings here. Yeah, I like BE. Their cons are a little tricky. And they have August, so I'd probably look at like July cons just to buy time. And
yeah, I do like BE actually. I'm just looking at the chart now.
What was this move? Was that earnings move?
To be honest, Sid, you could just buy shares in this. Like the ADR is 9%. This is on average 9% a day.
Yeah.
Like, you can just sit on shares.
Let me see. I'm curious what like those July 400s look like.
Yeah, my criteria for shares is always like if it's over. I usually play options if it's under like 2.5%, and then anything over, I just want to see kind of how it acts. And then, usually over 5% for me is when I play shares.
Fucking July 17th, like 350 calls for BE or $28 each.
Yeah, it's insane.
Like even looking at June 300s or $28. I mean, unless you catch it,
it's
like
not worth the risk.
No, it's not. Like, 'cause even looking at like weeklies. Like a weekly is $13. Yeah, I would just buy shares, or if there's leverage there, shares.
There probably is levered, yeah. Probably is levered.
And ENPH, the one that got away. I was trading it back down. When was I trading it? When it was like down here. I was like, hey, it's gonna break over the 200 SMA and go. Broke over the 200 SMA and went. I think all solar looks great, right? So if you go back to, and this goes back to my thesis of the week, where I think solar might need to cool off for a bit, but I think alternative energy is going to be where I'd be looking for this week. First Solar's been going, broke all-time highs. Yeah. Like if this could get a pullback and retest this all-time high, that would be the spot on First Solar. BLDB, yep, another one which you could just buy shares in and chill. I think this is going yeah, I like this. I like the way it moves. It's similar to, I mean, if you look at like BlackBerry, which fucking, I just need to buy shares and just chill. And I'm like, get shook out of the options, but like, yeah, like BlackBerry, I think from here could double. I think BLDP, there was a ton of flow for August, but this is one that could easily still from here. I mean, we're breaking this. Go from here. What is that? $7. And then next spot, probably look at here, 9. Yeah. Either right, like yeah. Any test towards the 8-day or any movement towards the 8-day, I think gives an opportunity to go long on a name like that. What else am I looking at? Oh, so on like the AI trade and like the AI bottleneck. So obviously storage plays a big part in that. NetApp is a storage provider. They gapped up on earnings and sold off a bit. And the other one is Pure Storage, which I know, I think like REMS was in it and pumping it, and it sold off on earnings. I'm going to be keeping an eye out on this because, it came down, touched 50, reclaimed the 200, now reclaimed the 21-day, right? So this might be one that I think people are kind of like, they forgot about it because it did have this big move and sold off after earnings. But if we could get, let me see this. That's not what I want. I mean, definitely like it up to like 88, but if we could get a close over 88, that's going to be the most attractive for me to kind of go long with size, where we could reclaim the 786. Sweet Green SG, I think I put this in the chat. I'm like, this, like another one, it's cheap enough you just buy shares. It's in the gap right now, so gap fill would be around $12, 11.86. So a lot more room up, and a lot more room up to like to the highs. Where this is down a lot, like really down a lot. I think they rolled out a new product, like a wrap or some shit. But another one that's cheap enough where you could buy shares. It's kind of tightening up here. Couple inside days, and this could definitely run higher. But yeah, definitely a shares play. Roku looks good. If we could break over, if we could get over this, it's 132. And then what else? Applied APLD, we're in that. Still like this. I just think it needs a little bit of time to kind of digest the move. HPE has earnings on Monday. That'll be interesting. BBAI. I know a lot of, like, people like to call us the mini Palantir, but I think there's a lot of congressional buys in this. If this gets over the 200 SMA, I think this is one of those that could just keep fucking running. Up towards the highs. So definitely I have this on watch, and I think I have an alert set for here. I should. Boom, boom, boom. Went over that. Software names, earnings, ServiceNow. Yeah, solar names all look good. Brom, was it you that mentioned we should just buy, I don't know if you said if you meant like this ticker as in Virgin Galactica space, SPCE.
Oh yeah, I was watching it for a long time, and then the setup kind of just disappeared.
And then look at this.
Kind of got off my watch list, but now it's just freaking at $6.
Yeah.
Like I think I was looking at it when it was at like $2 to $3. Yeah, it
Yeah.
sucks, but
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, this could probably still keep running until SpaceX.
oh, 100%,
Let me look into the
100%.
chat here. So ASPI. That was one that was on my watch list before. Yep. Reclaim the 200 Oops. Yeah, reclaim the 200 SMA here. I think I was trading this a couple months ago. But yeah, I like this. If we could get a, yeah, it broke over. Did we really get a retest? No. I think any retest here of the 200 is good, but again, it's cheap enough that you could buy shares on it and have a pretty tight stop loss, right? You could say, hey, my stop's going to be any close underneath the 200. So, looking at key levels, look at that, 860. That looks like a level, and then this right here, 1120. That's a pretty significant level. And yeah, I like it. What else we got? How do I think the market will react to SpaceX IPO?
I think they nuke space.
I think they nuke space. Yeah. I
Yeah,
would.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we saw it. We saw it happen kind of with the chips a little bit after CRBS. Like they sold off a little bit, but or at least the names that ran with it. But yeah, I mean, a lot of those. I mean, if it's a liquidity event, right? So people like if they want to be in space, why would they be in a, I don't know, a lunar, right, or an ASTS when they could be in SpaceX? Obviously, Rocket Lab is different, but I don't know. It would be tough to see because like I think it could be a sell the news kind of thing, at least with other space names. Did this recover? It did recover, huh? It recovered the previous all-time high. So ASTS obviously had that sell-off and then it recovered. What else? Cypher looks good. If we could get over the highs here at about 25.50, I like that. Put an alert there. Samara Powell. Yeah, PL has earnings this week. PL crushes it every earnings, like literally. Look at this volume on every earnings. Every earnings. High volume. High volume. High volume. High volume. Right? So if I do throw in a gamble on earnings this week, I'll look at PL. The only thing is it's like what it's ran. I guess it hasn't ran. It's ran a good amount since its last earnings. It's around about 50%. Yeah. Another name that has earnings this week, which I really like, and I think this could explode higher. I know Bromsky, you're familiar with them, is GitLab.
Yep. GTLB.
Yeah, I think like they got destroyed obviously with like the SaaS apocalypse and all that, but they're going to be a big player when it comes to AI. I wouldn't like. I might throw. This is one that I'll probably throw in like an earnings gamble on it. Because if it breaks over this 200 SMA, it could be off to the races. Because let's see. Yeah, so it was underneath here. Oops. Underneath here, and then we got, yeah, I think. Yeah, this over here, was this, oh, look at that. Huh. Check this out. On this earnings here, it was underneath the 200 SMA, gapped up above it. When was this? June, same. Q2, Q1 earnings. So that might be something to keep an eye on. So the same June earnings in 2023, under the 200 SMA, gapped up and kept going, right? So might just put a small thing on there because I think they're going to recover pretty well here, just fundamentally. What else we got? Flex. Say flex. Oh yeah. I had this on there. So did get the breakout on Friday. If it could, yeah, if we get a pullback into like 147, I forgot why I didn't take it. It might have been because the options were pretty thin. Let me see. No, 155s, 160s. Damn, 175s have a lot of OI. Well, another, yeah, rhymes fun. Yeah, okay, thanks for reminding me. Yeah, I'm going to put this on watch for next week because there's a lot of flow here for 175s. Yeah, any kind of pullback into here would be the trigger, or if we get a break over here. At that point, it's pretty extended. Am I still looking at FLNC? So, pretty ugly. We'll see what happens with, like, if I'm looking at like energy names, like I like TE that I'm in, and I like FCell. FCell held a previous all-time high, but FLNC, I want to see, like, it has to show me something here on the 21 day. Obviously the volume here on the sell was pretty low, like just relative, right? Like this is low volume, but if we could get a UNR of the 21 day and it continues to push through the 8 day, yeah. It's definitely not one of my top watches, but yeah. PPSI. Oopsies. What did they do? Yeah, held the previous all-time high here. So that's kind of, obviously it pulled back, but similar to FSAO where it stopped right at that previous all-time high. So I think anything, as long as it stays above that 540, yeah, but any closes below that, get the fuck out of Dodge. Yeah, I would let it tighten up a little bit. Do MNTS and CPS. MNTS. What is MNTS? Not really familiar with the names, so I don't know. MNTS.
It's a monster. No, that's not
Momentous. It's momentous and CPS. Whoa. That's nasty. Yeah, these aren't, I mean, yeah, I don't even know what the average volume is on this, right? Yeah. Not something that even on my radar. AVAV. You mean AVAV or AVA? AVIV? Or AVAV? Especially on the 8 day and 21 day. Boom, boom, boom. I mean, yeah, this is obviously a drone play, right? So. Yeah, but let the emails catch up. I think as long as this consolidates for a bit, yeah, it could go head up back to 200 SMA. As far as where's the bottoming though? Yeah, that's a key level right there. It's in. Yeah, I mean, obviously broke the downtrend, but yeah.
Personally, I don't think Archer has a setup yet. Needs to kind of go sideways, build a base. APH. Same thing with APH. It's kind of just like bouncing in between a range. Just needs to kind of give a setup, get tight, give us something actionable. IMSR. I've never heard of this stock. I mean, yeah. Again, this one as well. I really like the volume on this one. But IMSR needs to go sideways again. I think it kind of had its wedge pop. I think it's going. Is this a software name? Yeah, it's a construction name. Okay. Yeah, I think it just needs to go sideways for a bit. Like needs to set up in a range. Top. And then click. Never heard of this one either. Click is a decent setup actually. It needs more time. Because it hasn't really built. It's very close. I think it needs like 1 or 2 more days just to kind of confirm like its range. But click definitely is the best one that you get. I really like how it's riding the 10 or the 8-day moving average and the 21-day moving average. Looks really good. Yeah. Needs to set up a little bit. Yeah, we went over CoreWeave already, Angel.
Yeah, it's on the recording. Yeah. Oh, Fly. So I know this one. It's kind of at a key level here at 46. So I'll be watching this if it holds 46 and what happens here. And all these space names are kind of. Gotta see what happens with where the money flows if we see rotation. Peng. Alice APLD, Rigetti over 27 is interesting for me. Until then, I think really what's going to happen is it's kind of just going to consolidate here. Once it gets over 27, then yeah. But it's not one that I want to front run. I'll wait. HPE, Iron, BBI. What else? Shop, Snowflake. App. Oh, Unity. Unity's starting to look good. If we could get over, obviously we got a rejection here a little bit, get over like this 31 area, then have a magnet towards the 200 SMA. I think this is one that we could turn around and it could be at 40 by the end of June as well, just kind of depending what happens on the macro side. And then,
you check out ACAM?
ACAM?
AKAM?
Yeah. It's on my, yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Looks good, I
Looks,
think.
yeah.
Too.
It's on my cyber list here.
Yeah. Another setup that could just go.
Yeah. There's so many setups that really need to be selective, and so you don't. Because what happened was like I missed the move on Palantir last week because I was looking at something else, right?
Yeah, and I kind of figured that like for me as well. Last week, is I was taking so many setups that I'm like, hold on, like I need to just dial it back and take quality ones because we all get in the habit. We all do it. Overtrade.
Yeah, I think the biggest like ones I'll be watching this week are like nuclear names, anything like that with energy. And then if we get a pullback on software names and DigitalOcean. Air Jordan. Where do you find these names? I've never heard like. I stare at charts all day. I don't. Yeah, I mean, looks good. I mean, the volume's definitely coming in here. Hammered on the 8 day. Holding 200, 21's catching up. Yeah, might need. I mean, that's probably just needs like a couple more days of sideways action, and then yeah, and then from there. We got right there. We're on like 550. Where's that? Right there. 550-ish. Target that, and then this right here. Probably the next big target around 660. There. Around
Give me 1 sec, just have to go AFK.
Water filtration play? Okay. Mobley. Oh, Mobley. This is bananas. Yeah. I would wait for it to pop its head over the 200, but yeah, once it pops its head over the 200 and like gives confirmation, then yeah. But until then, you can see what happened here, right? Look good, came in 200, rejected, came here, rejected, right? Obviously, this is a little more constructive where you get the 8 and the 21 crossed over the 50, but yeah, I would just wait for it to get over the 200 SMA first. Reddit, yeah. Oh, I didn't talk about Reddit. Yeah, it was in my video. Oh, so the two, yeah, Reddit and CRM, definitely. So Reddit, what I want to see here is a break over 176 with volume, or we get a pullback into about 165. But yeah, I think this, we got another one where the 200 SMA will act like a magnet. Obviously, the fundamentals are really good with the company, AI play. But yeah, I would definitely target about 225 here on Reddit. So what are we at? June 1st. And this one can move fast once it gets going. But yeah, I'd want to see, I want to see a breakout over 176. And then, which reminds me, CRM is the other one that I'm definitely watching. Because I think this one could get moving, and I think contracts could start juicing up pretty fast. Like if you look at out of the money, like 250s for July. Obviously, a lot of volume came in after this post earnings reaction. So if we could break over that 193, or any kind of pullback here would be great. But yeah, this is definitely one of my top watches, and I didn't have it on there. AOSL. Looks good. The one thing to be mindful of, let's see, so we have that. This seems to be pretty big. It's about $50, $49, a pretty big level of resistance. Then right here as well. So if we get a close over 50, yeah, it keeps rejecting 50. That's exactly what it is. If you get a close over 50 on this, yeah, but otherwise, look, it came up here, swept it, came back down. Next day, came up, swept it, closed under here, rejected it, and rejected it here, like 2 weeks ago as well. Yeah, I'll just get a close over 50 on this. It would be good. Dash. Dash. I'm going to EOS because I like EOS. This is a gap fill still here, and obviously alternative energy as well.
My goodness, service now is up 11% at the open.
Sir, it's Sunday night.
Holy crap.
Let's see what's going on here.
That is awesome. Microsoft up 3%. I'm just looking at all the 24-hour prices right now.
959, Zeta, Flex, DocuSign, Qualcomm. Yeah, I mean, see what happens by the open. But yeah. Damn, Microsoft.
Microsoft is gone, dude. I'm in 2x levered. That one.
What's Palantir doing? Let's see. Because I don't know how many times you heard me say this. I wouldn't bank on Sunday night prices. If you have shares,
no, 100%.
yeah, if you have shares, it's a great opportunity to sell. But yeah, come open, I wouldn't bank on it.
No, I know. I just get excited.
No, that's awesome. DigitalOcean's at 158. Yeah, I mean it's low volume. Oh,
Hacker, why did you sell, bro? You see my write up on what my target price is. Now is gonna go to 160 to 180. That's my in between there is gonna be where I sell.
that reminds me, I didn't go over this. Cisco, another peg play. Looks really good here. Obviously flagging here at the highs. Consolidating around the 8-day. So I'll be looking for here is if we get, be careful. What is that right now? It's like a 119. But like, yeah, if we get like any kind of UNR of the 8-day, or if we get a break over 121, I like Cisco to head towards about like 135. ARM's up 8%. Oh my god. Oh shit. Nvidia's up. Nvidia's at 215.
Dude, everything.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Koalas 2, which is what I'm in.
Dude, ARM's gonna.
I might beat my performance last year.
Nice.
This year.
Mod. Sorry, as I'm looking at prices too. So, Marvell, VIV, Nimbus.
Oh, Doc N, dude, is up over 1%.
Yeah,
We'll see what
but
it looks
yeah,
like
the
tomorrow.
volume is what like. That's not like none of these.
Yeah, 100%.
It's
Yeah, Microsoft
on,
did have
it
news.
there's been 5 shares traded on Doc N. 10 now. 10. Yeah. So yeah, ARM has news with Nvidia. Right, guys, I gotta run. I got family stuff to deal with, but appreciate you guys hopping on. I'm gonna make a point of this to do it more on Sundays live instead of just doing my video. But yeah, let's have a good week. Have a lot of opportunities out there in the market. A lot of good setups. So take care, y'all.
See ya.
Later.